The following program may contain language of an adult nature. Listener discretion is advised.
Views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of alltalkradio.net.
Brothers and sisters! Brothers and sisters! I don't know what this world is coming to.
Hey yo, check this out, this is Flavor Flav, and if you want the whole truth, and nothing but the whole truth, so help the whole truth. Hey yo, you better listen to Dante, baby. Dante!
What's going on, y'all, and welcome to another great edition of the Dante's Boxing Nation Show. I am your host, Dante, and it is fight week, baby. Another big fight. I can't wait, man. This is like the second biggest fight of the year, at least the biggest event, man. So I'm stoked, man. I'm hyped up. I'll be covering the fight this whole weekend. So all the boxing fans, you want to come over and say, holla at your boy Dante. Let's talk some boxing and all. Get it in. Give me your predictions and all. It's all good. First things first, let me go ahead and introduce everybody on the panel. My man in the studio with me hanging out. What's going on, George?
Knocking out the keys here.
There we go. And we got my man BoxingEgo. Check his YouTube channel out. We got my man Erik Morales. Check his YouTube channel out, Counter Punch. And I think we're going to have some guests possibly calling in a little later. So let's get into it, guys. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start with the big one, man. Let's just jump right into it. Canelo versus Cotto. Mexico versus Puerto Rico. A huge rivalry is going down. Now, the first thing I want to talk about before we get into breakdown, guys, is I want to talk about the fact that the WBC, they just stripped Cotto for his title. It's kind of crazy, they're doing this like the week of the fight. Let's start with you, Erik Morales. Does this affect the pay-per-views? Does this affect the card at all? Does it even matter that they stripped Cotto for this belt?
I don't think so. I don't think it's going to matter as far as pay-per-view sales. It was interesting. I think they were saying it was over a $300,000 sanctioning fee.
Yeah, that he didn't pay. Yeah.
That's very interesting. I can understand why Cotto would not want to pay that, but I don't think it's going to affect anything. I'm curious how to affect Cotto going into the fight, but I don't think you're going to see much. He's too experienced. I think this is just one of those things that happens before a big fight.
Mm-hmm. And Ego, my whole thing is, Cotto wasn't looking to fight Golovkin anyway. So, it really doesn't affect anything because he was most likely going to pull a Riddick Bowe and probably throw this belt in the trash anyway if they would have tried to force him to fight Golovkin. Right, Ego?
I agree with that. And, the game is such a business now, and I know people hate when you say that, but it is what it is. Like, I can't run from the truth, and it's such a business. So it's like you feel bad, but then you can't, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like no matter – like everybody you feel bad for, they've kind of played the game of the business too. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's out for themselves, kind of. You know what I mean? So you're like, I feel bad for Cotto because the WBC tried to make an example and statement out of him, but he's been fighting his fights at catchweight his last few fights. Same thing with Canelo. So it's like everybody's doing it. Everybody's jockeying for a position, trying to do whatever works best for them. To me, it's unfortunate when fighters lose their title on the scale. They said that's what this is equivalent to. The same kind of rules as if you were to lose your title on the scale. Canelo is up for the belt. If he were to win, he can get the belt, but Cotto can't, no matter what, if he wins or not. So it's unfortunate because, to me, if someone has a stellar performance, I want to see them get rewarded, and that's part of the incentive of, WBC is not no chump belt.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants the green strap. So
yeah,
it just takes a little bit away. I don't think, like Erik said, I don't think it'll affect pay-per-view numbers. People want to see a fight. And again, the other thing is it was at a catchweight anyway. None of these guys look like they wanted to go up to middleweight to fight Golovkin anyway. So it was kind of a matter of time that this happened. Let real middleweights fight for it. But it's just unfortunate for the boxing fans and for the fighter if Cotto were to win. You know what I mean? Now you have one less incentive.
And I totally agree with both of you guys. I don't think it will affect the pay-per-view numbers. I only asked that question because there was a couple articles that was written basically saying that, it may affect the pay-per-views. My whole thing is I get tired of these sanctioning bodies actually bending the rules because my whole thing is as much as I want to see this fight, I don't believe it should be a title match. I don't. I'm sorry. I mean, if you're fighting at a catch weight, I don't even believe that's a real title fight. I mean, I only want to watch this fight because it's such a big fight. But as far as I'm concerned, if you're the middleweight champion, you fight at the middleweight division, and that's just all is to it. So, but it is.
I got a question for you guys too about the fight. What do you guys think of the promotion? Because for me, I feel like the biggest fight this year, Mayweather and Pacquiao, and then this fight, they like start off good, but then I feel like the promotion, especially for this particular one, hasn't really been all the way there. Like the face-off I was kind of expecting a little bit more. A lot of people didn't even watch the 24/7. Did you see either one? What do you guys think of the promotion?
I seen the first one. I did see the first one. And, yeah, I kind of agree with you. I mean, it was light type of promoting, and I think it even may affect them that they're not fighting at the MGM Grand. I mean, that's what people are used to. They're used to seeing the big fights at the MGM Grand, and they basically let their pride take over. Cotto and Canelo, they basically let their ego.
I didn't do it. I want to do it.
Yeah, I should say they let their ego take over. Because, just because of the fact that Floyd Mayweather's banner hangs all across the MGM Grand building, they didn't want to fight over there. But, hey, I mean, look at it.
Both of them. Take your loss.
Yeah, I mean, and when you talk to fans, it's crazy, right? Because normally when you talk to fans, they look at that as almost, an accomplishment, an achievement that Cotto was in, or Canelo, or both of them was in the ring with Floyd Mayweather. A lot of people don't even look at that as a loss on Canelo's record because they say Floyd was on such another level, which we'll talk more about what Oscar De La Hoya had to say about Canelo being too young, or too inexperienced for that fight. We'll talk a little bit more. Yeah. We'll talk a little bit more. What's going on, Boxing Baby? Yeah.
Hey, I reached out to Austin. I couldn't get him, so he may be tied up.
Okay, it's all good. We'll get him. We'll get him on the show eventually. We know he like to chop it up and spit the truth with us, so it's all good.
Hey, good thing we didn't talk about Ronda Rousey before Miss Boxing Baby got on. I know she'll have something to say.
We already know. Hey, man, you came in right on time because that's exactly what we're about to talk about. But before, huh?
Are y'all about to talk about her? Oh, okay.
No, before we get into that, let's give our final breakdowns. Let's go ahead and give our final breakdowns. Since you just stepped in the dough, let's talk to you, Miss Boxing Baby, a.k.a. Moose. So if y'all hear me call her Moose, her government name is Muslima. So I may call you Moose every now and then. So go ahead and give me your breakdown, Moose, on the Cotto versus Canelo fight.
I have it being reminiscent of Margarita Cotto 1 minus the illegal hand wraps. I think Cotto's going to have some success early, but I feel like Canelo's going to start to close the distance and bust him up and stop him in 10.
There it goes. So you believe it's going to look like Margarito versus Cotto minus the bricks. We'll see.
Absolutely. He's going to have his own bricks.
Yeah, he's going to have his own bricks. Yeah, hopefully he ain't been hanging around with Margarito. You never know. Nah, let me stop it.
I hope not.
I'm messing around. That was a joke. But anyway, Boxing Ego. Now, Boxing Ego, check out his video. He has a video that, what is it titled? 7 Reasons Why.
7 Reasons Why Canelo Beats Cotto.
Go ahead and break it down. Go ahead and give us a taste, Ego.
Well, I mean, there's a couple of things, but one of the points that I hit on there is a lot of people get mad. I have people there, you're stupid, you don't know. But I looked at their last 4 opponents, and I think Canelo had the better schedule because Canelo, whether he won or lost to Lara, he lost to Mayweather, his scheduled opponents, they were all able-bodied people. You know what I mean? Lara arguably shouldn't have any losses. Paul Williams that was bullshit. He beat Paul Williams, and Paul Williams is one of my favorites. But going into the Canelo fight, Lara was he could have been considered an undefeated fighter. Mayweather's still undefeated, retired now. Angulo, Canelo was off a loss. Angulo was off a loss, but at least we got to see him in there with the puncher. And then James Kirkland, at least he had a puncher's chance. But when I look at his list of fighters, his last 4 fights, Daniel Gill looked sucked up at the weigh-in, which I made a video before the outcome of the fight. Plus, he had got stopped the year before by Triple G. Sergio Martinez clearly wasn't. I'm not taking away from Cotto. I love Cotto, but I'm just being real. Is there anyone that thinks Sergio Martinez was 100% okie dokie? Like, you could tell he could barely even stand. And you just keep going. And then the other one, he lost to Austin Trout, who we almost had on the line in his 4th fight. And you know what I'm saying? And I don't believe that this miracle Freddie Roach just reinvigorated. I think he's the same Cotto. I mean, he beat Del Rodriguez, who everybody that beat Austin Trout beat him. Lara beat him after the fact. You know what I'm saying? So, to me, I think Canelo's schedule was tougher with guys who were pretty much healthy. And other than that, Canelo, bigger, strong, deceptively fast hands. Cotto's face tends to get cut up, lumped up, busted up. They say Mayweather's pillow-fisted, but post-fight in the interview in the locker room, his face was all swollen, tattered up. He almost got stopped in the 12th round by Mayweather, the pillow-fisted one that they say. And then overall, I think Cotto doesn't endure punishment as well as Canelo. But we'll see.
That's a hell of a breakdown. That's a hell of a breakdown. And that's why I saved this type of breakdown for the week of the show, so you guys can get a real in-depth breakdown from all of us. Erik Morales, go ahead and give your take, man.
I think it's going to be a great fight. I think both men will start fast. Canelo has definitely learned his lessons of slow starts, and so I think you're going to see him pick up the pace. I don't think he's going to be quite afraid of the smaller Cotto. I think he's going to start it off fast. I think they both will. I love both guys. I think this is going to be a tremendous, tremendous fight. But I'm going to go Canelo, and I think we may see another controversial decision. I do think this is going to the judges. And I think that with a little help from a couple of friends, Canelo may get the benefit of the doubt. And just like Eagle pointed out, I think the big thing that's going to really cause the judges to look Canelo's way is because Cotto's face bust up real easily. And in the late rounds, I'm imagining the judges just checking off for Canelo each one. So I'm going to go with Canelo. I'm going to get him by more than likely a unanimous decision. However, I wouldn't be surprised by a split decision.
Mm-hmm.
I got one last thing I got to add to is just so people, some people are saying, Ego's a Cotto hater. It's nothing about hate. He has one of the deepest resumes in boxing. I can even picture Cotto hurting Canelo to the point where he has to buckle down and, you know what I'm saying, and then later, like, win the fight. The other thing that I want to compare to is a lot of people keep comparing Cotto's movement to Canelo. Canelo doesn't have fast feet. I agree with that. He has concrete feet. But the thing is, the way Cotto moves is more of a bounce and is not the fluid type of, like, if you look at movers like Mayweather, even Trout, he was undefeated, or Lara, those guys are elusive movers. You know what I mean? Like, they can, like Floyd is on water. He can get off the ropes and then, like, transition. He was playing around with Berto. So that's the other thing. People keep comparing Canelo's struggle with movers, but I don't view – Cotto can move, but he don't move his legs like Lara does. He doesn't move his legs like Mayweather with the same swiftness. And that's, I think, a big difference. So Canelo has trouble getting off the ring, but those are usually against top-tier guys with good lateral movement, very fluid, very rhythmic, like Austin Trout, Mayweather, and Lara. So I think that's a difference. Cotto has some pep and some bounce, but it's not the same type of movement that you'll see from Lara, or the movement that you'll see from Mayweather. They're like very swift and agile and very athletic with this.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have to be real with the fact remains that Cotto has been in a lot of wars. People don't want to admit it. They keep saying this is a new resurgence. Cotto, he's still been in a lot of wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
even the fights he's won have been wars. And Cotto is a blown up junior welterweight. I just feel like this fight is going to be 2008 all over again. He's going to land something big, and then you're going to see Cotto do that infamous back pedal he do on his toe. He's going to close the distance, and he's going to stop him.
Yeah,
he's going to take a knee.
Yeah, if we see the moonwalk, that's not a good sign. That's for sure.
So that's what it is, a moonwalk. That's what he do.
Yeah.
He's infamous for that. So he throws a punch he don't like, he start that moonwalk.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm curious about? Will Canelo utilize body attacks?
I think he will. Oh, you said will Canelo? Yeah. I think.
Can y'all hear me here?
Yeah, I hear you. I heard you. You said, well,
Hey, quick question. Do y'all think Canelo will utilize body punches? A lot of times he becomes a headhunter. He starts going for the big shots, going for the big counter. Will he be able to corner Miguel Cotto and really work the body? Because that seems to trouble Cotto more than anything.
he went to the body when he fought Josito Lopez, and he tried to go to the body with Floyd Mayweather, but, you know, that shoulder roll and them counter punches was eating him up. So, you know, it wasn't a good idea against Floyd.
Floyd has a supreme defense, and, like, again, he's the better, more accurate.
No doubt.
Like,
no doubt. You can't compare.
You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. You can't.
He's like, yeah, there's a difference. I've seen a lot of these guys live and stuff. Like, it's different. Like, Terrence Crawford, the way he moves is not the same way another guy who uses his legs moves. I've seen it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Terrence Crawford was moving flawlessly. So just how you get in and out, how you find. Like, Mayweather, he always knows the escape route. He always knows. Like, Pacquiao has fast feet. And he said, I want to see Mayweather fight someone with fast feet. Pacquiao couldn't corner him or whatever. Floyd always knows he's like a couple steps ahead of you. And I don't think Cotto is that resilient when it comes to his legs and using them.
Mm-hmm. And I want to say
Dante, I have Austin on the phone.
You got Austin? Austin, you there?
Yeah.
Austin,
Yes,
what's going on, man? Welcome to the show, man. I said I was going to give you a nice, fancy introduction, but...
We're just talking about you.
Yeah.
We're talking about your fight.
Everything we saying right now really has something to...
Man, thanks for having me back.
Hey, no doubt. One of the best junior middleweights out there, the former junior middleweight champion, still doing big things. Welcome to the show, man. So, anyway, Austin.
Thanks for having me.
So, yeah.
Thanks for having me. What are we talking about today?
So let me give you a rundown, you know, what we're going to talk about or what we've been talking about. We're doing an extensive breakdown on the Cotto versus Canelo fight since you've been in the ring with both of them. We're going to talk about Ronda Rousey get knocked out because, matter of fact, you was talking about her the last time you was on the show with us, Austin, and we're going to talk a little bit about Oscar De La Hoya wanting Canelo to fight Lemieux next and some other stuff, man. So, but let's go ahead and
Who does he want him to fight?
Huh? He wants Oscar De La Hoya said.
Who does Oscar want?
Oscar said he wants Canelo to possibly fight against David Lemieux next. You know what I mean? So that's all right. that laugh says it all. That laugh says it all.
Like bad.
Huh? What do you say?
He said,
When you just get knocked out, that's funny.
Yeah. But let me jump off the subject real quick. Since you just said that, Austin, how crazy is that, Austin? Right now, 154 is one of the hottest divisions right now. I mean, it's jumping right there. We got Austin Trout. We got the Charlo Bros. We got Julian Williams. We got Demetrius Andrade. Why would Oscar De La Hoya want Canelo to fight a guy who just got knocked out as opposed to the best opponents at 154? And then they say that Al Heyman puts on the weakest fights. What's that all about, Austin?
Man, I have no idea. I guess he don't want Canelo to almost get beat. I reckon that's all he got left. And Canelo takes an L. You know what I mean? That means the Golden Boy is done. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that's why he's calling for lesser. But the fans shouldn't let him get away with this for too long. I hope. But you never know. Boxing fans are weird.
Very weird. Very weird.
Very weird.
And it's funny.
That's what I'm saying. I was going to say certain fighters have to take the most strenuous tests back to back to back and still don't get respect. Taking those tough fights, like they'll have the toughest schedule. Like Bradley has a crazy schedule. Tim Bradley has a crazy schedule, and it's still not enough. And then certain fighters, they could fight soft touches, and it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Take guys off loss.
Yeah, but Austin is right when he says the fans, they need to put more pressure. The fans and the media, because the media are fans too. They need to put more pressure on these fighters to take the tough challenges. That's how we got Canelo versus Lara. Canelo took that fight because the fans, they went in on Canelo, you know? So,
and because Lara jumped
how you took the fight against me as well.
Huh? What'd you say, Austin?
I got the fight with Canelo. The fans, they call for it.
Yeah. And you kept putting his name out there. Yeah, I think fighters also, they can't get discouraged, right, Austin? They can't get discouraged and say, oh, Canelo, he ain't going to fight me. I'm going to stop bringing his name up, right?
Right. Now you got to keep going for what you want.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're not going to give it to you. You got to find a way to take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, before we move on to Ronda Rousey, let me
I'm curious. Austin, who do you got this weekend? Who do you think's got the upper hand? You face both men. It came out short against Canelo, but ended up beating Cotto. Who do you think's going to really take that fight?
I think Canelo's going to win. Cotto's proven me wrong before plenty of times, and I hope he does again. I'm rooting for Cotto. I think Canelo, he's got the physical advantage. He's bigger. You know what I mean? He's younger. I believe he's stronger. They both have matching speed, and to say that Canelo hits harder is really unfair for me because Cotto didn't catch me clean like Canelo did, and it's I wonder, if I caught as many clean right hands or left hooks as I did from Canelo, would I've been able to continue? I guess that's the question mark, right? Canelo's younger. He does gas, but so does Cotto.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's going to be too big for him.
I just beat him through attrition, too many punches. Let me ask, are you friends with either man?
No, I'm not.
So you don't know. So you haven't ran past him or anything like that. You didn't hang out with him in the elevator for like 1 minute or nothing since the fight.
Nah, with Cotto, as a matter of fact, right after fighting Cotto, he was at my fight with Canelo, and I was still fast. So I took a picture with him down in San Antonio, but that's it. That's the only interaction I've had with either one of them.
Hey, you know what? You just made me think about something, Austin. When we was watching the All Access, your wife, she took a picture with Cotto's wife, and Cotto's wife was acting a little funny about that afterwards. She was like, who comes up? She said something. I'm paraphrasing, but you remember? I know you watched it. What did you think about how she reacted to your wife?
It's funny because my mom, she was the one who hatched the plan. She was like, devise some mental warfare. Go take a picture with her, just to confuse them. It
worked because they was real confused. She was like, "What the hell?" She was like, "Who does that?"
Like, what are they doing? Did she slip me something? Yeah.
Hey, Austin, I got a question for you. Do you think it's not in your best interest to ever befriend people that you may somewhere down the line rematch or people in or around your division, or how does that work for a fighter?
No, I don't think that has anything to do. I mean, this is a gentleman's sport. We can try to beat the hell out of each other, and then right away, as soon as that bell rings, shake hands, give a hug, or whatever. As long as there's no real bad blood, and most of the time there's not real bad blood. The respect, I think, between fighters, especially after they fight, overcomes that bad blood. Now, he might not be my favorite person. You know what I'm saying? There's definitely a mutual respect there. Kind of like two mob bosses that won't cross the line, in a sense. Love-hate relationship. So being friends or foes, I don't think that really plays much of a part. Me and Vanes Martirosyan have one of the probably friendliest rivalries in the amateurs. He was the alternate. I was the alternate. He was the Olympian. And that's never, when we get in the ring, we try to kill each other, but afterwards, it's all love.
Yeah, and actually sometimes make you even closer, right? You kind of humbles you guys in a certain sense that you then did 12, 10, or even 3-4 rounds with each other, right? I would imagine.
Right.
So let's go ahead and move on, and I'll try to give my quick take on the Cotto versus Canelo fight before the show ends. But let's go ahead and talk about this big news, man. This is looked at as one of the biggest upsets in contact sports. Ronda Rousey gets knocked out by a boxer who boxed for about 11 years, and she gets knocked out by Holly Holm.
Listen,
I got to
I called it. I knew. I called it before. I said Ronda's never fought nobody that's really been has been brought up on some fighting and like she has. Then when they made that Holly Holm fight, I said, now this is the true test, because Holly, before she even started boxing, she was kickboxing. Then she really became a boxer, was killing and became multi-time world champion. As a matter of being that Holly Holm is from Albuquerque, New Mexico. My pro debut was on Holly Holm versus Christy Martin card back in 2005.
Wow.
And it's crazy. Yeah, it was her coming out party. It was my pro debut. And it was a big night for New Mexico. And she went on to win every title there is, beat everybody in or around the weight class boxing-wise. Then she went over to do MMA full time. And she boxed it beautifully. I was so happy for her. It really couldn't happen to a nicer person. You know, I mean, Ronda's fine and all, but I mean, I think she's been letting those ducks get to her head like Rocky 3. You know what I mean? Oh, we ready for you ducks for real, Mick? With all bums.
Yeah, she got Clever Lang.
Yeah, she got Clever Lang.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Why?
Clever Lang, and and I'm still waiting for Dana White to give some love to Holly Holm. I mean, I know he's all over Ronda Rousey's nuts, but you know what I mean, give credit where credit's due, egghead. There you go.
Yeah. We maybe hopefully we
or Ring Magazine. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
They're not gonna do that.
Yeah, De La Hoya needs to kick himself in the face. That's what she did too. Yeah, that's another smack in the face. Holly Holm should have been on Ring Magazine. Not to mention, I mean, what's Cecilia Brackers and killing everything. I mean, hell, even Clarissa Shields.
Yeah, I was just about to say gold medalist, the first gold medalist. Yeah.
Throw her on there.
And Wolf, anybody on there.
Yeah. I mean,
it wasn't even like it don't even look like they had a photo shoot for Ronda. They used old pics Ronda sent them.
Yeah.
On the cover.
I mean, it almost almost makes you think it's political. I mean, you see all the darts that De La Hoya been throwing at Floyd Mayweather. And, I mean, Austin, how does this make Oscar look? He said that Ronda would knock him out in like 16 seconds. But wait a minute. Oscar was in the ring with Floyd. So you saying a woman would have done better against Floyd Mayweather than you did?
Yeah.
I mean, Austin, is he just completely contradicting himself, leaving himself wide open, man, or what?
He's still getting high. That's the problem.
He don't know what he's talking about.
Something.
I think he's desperate. Yeah, like I said, if this Canelo thing doesn't go good for him, he's done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, Erik Morales, do you think that Ronda Rousey can come back from this? Is it over or what? Is her 15 minutes of fame over with or what?
Maybe to be the monster that she was. I don't think she'll be an Entourage 2 or anything like that. But she's a wonderful athlete. She's good, but she chased in any sport, if you chase somebody, you're going to get beat. She didn't understand angles. She didn't understand cutting up the ring.
No feints.
I mean, it was almost remedial watching her try to match up with the person who has a boxing background. But it is what it is. You get limited. When you're a limited fighter, you will eventually get exposed, and she did.
Yeah. I mean,
the thing is, for me, is why wouldn't she just shoot him to take her down like every second of the fight? She tried to stand up, and I was like, what is she doing? I hope she keeps it up, because Holly's going to definitely keep. It was a poor game plan, and she looked good.
She did try to take her down once, though, but Holly got right back up, which wasn't a good sign. And then Holly took her down, which surprised everyone. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was like she was exposed, man. She was exposed, and to me, it's a bad case of karma. You sit over here talking about how you'll beat Floyd Mayweather, a boxer, and then all of a sudden you get beat by a female boxer, in your own division, and had less fights than she did, So yeah, man.
Was she looking ahead like Anderson Silva, so to speak, trying to prove a point that she could box?
Maybe. I mean, her stand-up game is not horrible, but yeah, she didn't understand the boxing stand-up game, though, is what it seemed to me.
This is what it seems like to me. The whole thing is it stems from the fans and the media. They hyped her up to be this killing machine that's invincible, and nobody in fighting is invincible. That's for starters. The other thing is I think she started like doing movie premieres and stuff, and she became even more arrogant with it. Like, you have to look on her Facebook or her Instagram. She posted, like, oh, I'm going to enjoy beating your ass, you fake preacher's daughter. She was talking crazy to Holly Holm.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, you're a fake preacher's daughter. I'm going to whoop you, and I'm going to laugh about it. And then she said, like, Holly Holm ain't ready for stardom, and she can't handle the success of being a champion. So after she gets this little payday from me, I wish her well. She was talking crazy,
She was on that Chael Sonnen. Yeah, she was on that Chael Sonnen stuff.
You have to remain disciplined, because there's always someone that's gunning for your spot. And the thing is, I told people I wanted to see Chris Cyborg, that particular fight, because people are so quick to anoint you something without seeing you fight different styles. Like, we know her ground game is sick. If she rolls you, judo tosses you, armbar, it's a wrap. But being up with someone who's taller than you, a good striker like Chris Cyborg or a striker like Holly Holm, it's not going to just curl and give up. And, like, you don't, like, you watch the Betch Correa Ronda Rousey fight. She was getting countered in that fight when she got the knockout on Betch Correa. she was getting countered to death. No type of head movement, no type of defense. But she didn't respect Betch Correa's power, and she was able to will herself through that. But then when Holly Holm started pot-shotting her to death, like she was Edislandi Lara with them left hands, she got frustrated. She got fatigued.
She started second-guessing everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because she couldn't get in close. The taller person with she was pot-shot. She was using boxing. She was using movement, pot-shotting her, not letting her close distance, similar to what Mayweather did to Pacquiao, only she incorporated MMA into it, too, by kicking her in the side of the head.
And a tremendous elbow. That elbow to the cheek was amazing. I love it. I watched that at least 3 or 4 times already.
And we didn't even notice it, right, until we watched the replay. Well, I don't think a lot of people caught that until you watched the replay.
Holly Holm was getting off. Congratulations. She needs to be on Ring Magazine. And you just got to, like, Ronda's friends with Gennady Golovkin, like he says, respect box. It's a big drama show. It's serious business. So,
respect box.
You got to respect box. And these people, not everyone who's a challenger is coming to lay down, period.
Yeah. Now, since you just brought it up, Boxing Ego, I got to ask you the question. I talked to you about it, Ego, earlier, and I'm still going to do a video about this. But if you look at the comparisons to Golovkin and Ronda Rousey, you know, they were both hyped up, right? You got Golovkin doing Apple commercials. I think he's endorsed by Jordan. And you had Ronda Rousey doing movies and, you know, swimsuit editions and all kind of stuff like that. So I have to ask the question, not taking anything away from Golovkin, because he's the best middleweight in the world right now. But I want to ask all you guys this question. I might as well start with Ego. Is Golovkin the Ronda Rousey of boxing?
Okay, now this is the thing. I can't say he has an amateur background, Olympic silver medalist. The thing is, we don't truly know how good he's going to be until he steps up with that elite A-level name who's doing for themselves. I asked you this question, and I'll ask all the fans. Name someone Golovkin fought that had less than 1 or 2 losses, and tell me if those people had been stopped before. Most of the people on Gennady Golovkin's current pro list that had names had even been stopped before. If not, they had losses. Adama had losses. Rosado got stopped by Angulo. Macklin got stopped by Martinez. So the thing is, we have to see him face an A-level name, know exactly how good he is. So I know what he brings to the table. Good counter puncher, good walk you down style, power. But I got to see him in there with an elite level person, someone I consider elite that's looked good in the last 3 fights or so. So I can't say he is the Ronda Rousey of boxing, but he's sure getting a lot of attention and hype. And his opponent selection hasn't just been the prime. You know what I mean? Look at Cotto's resume and then compare it to Golovkin. Even Canelo. Canelo's been in there with Trout, who's on the phone.
Trout has Trout has a way better resume as far as I'm concerned than Golovkin.
Gabe Rosado lost to Triple G and has a better resume. He's been in there with Angulo and Angulo's prime. He's been in there with the Charlo brother. He's been in there with Peter Quillin. I mean, Jay Leon Love. Like, everybody's resume is better.
So, Trout, what do you think about that question? You've been in the ring, like I said, with all these opponents. Is he almost looked at as like the Ronda Rousey of boxing right now? Austin, you there? Fix me a plate too, man. Somebody sound like somebody fixing something to eating right now.
I'm sorry, I gotta go to work, so I'm trying to cook and.
What you over there cooking, Moose?
I cooked for the kids earlier. Some chicken, rice, and broccoli and cornbread. So I was trying to fix their plate before I go to work.
Oh, okay. Now you got me hungry, hearing plates rattling and everything, messing me up, man. What was we talking about now? Anyway, I guess Trout he took a break. So let me Muslima, go ahead and tell me, Moose. What do you think about the question I asked? Is he looked at as somewhat the Ronda Rousey of boxing right now?
Yes. I even posted it after I posted her. I said, "Little G next." I mean, you gotta do the same thing. They're hyping him up like they hyped her up, and not hyped her up before she even fought anybody, and then disrespected all these legends after she lost. So Muhammad Ali lost and things of that nature. Muhammad Ali never lost in his prime. Let's just make that clear. She's in her prime, and she lost and got beat up.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel the same way about Triple G. When he steps up competition, if he ever does, I don't think he's personally ever going to do it, but if he's ever made it to step up in competition, I think he's going to look just like that.
Yeah.
And they know this, so they're protecting him. He's 34-0 and still hasn't fought anybody in the top 10. No future Hall of Famers. Most people I have never even heard of on his resume, and it's accepted. So.
Yeah.
You sleeping on Adama? Adama's a killer.
Who's that?
Yeah, that was his Frazier Ali moment right there when he fought against Adama.
And I'm not taking nothing away from their talent. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm saying is they build these people up. We know why they build them up before they do anything, and then when they step in there with somebody like that, they still make excuses. Oh, Muhammad Ali lost. Do you know why Muhammad Ali lost or when he lost? But I mean, it's easy to say that because you still want to keep her on this pedestal.
Yeah, and let me.
When it clearly shows she didn't know what to do.
I had an old manager that told me this. We used to work at a store or whatever, and he says customers that complain about the store takes multiple multiple good experiences to alleviate that bad experience. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to just have a horrible experience at Walmart and to go to Walmart one other time, then have a good experience and imagine and say, oh, Walmart's the best store, they have the best customer service. It takes repeat trips to Walmart with good experiences for you to erase that memory. Now, when I look at fighters that do the same kind of logic, the logic is this. It's going to take time. It's going to take repeat performances for you to prove what you truly are. And the amount of hype that Triple G's getting, it's not resonating with the names he has on his resume. He's fighting 3 or 4 times. You notice no other champion is fighting 3 or 4 times a year because a lot of the other champions are typically fighting somebody
tough
competition.
A little bit
sturdier. Danny Garcia fought Paulie Malignaggi, but then he also fought Lamont Peterson this year. Keith Thurman had a Robert Guerrero, which was his step up at the time, and then he fought a softer touch, I guess you could say, in Luis Collazo. Even Broner, he's fought 3 times. Alec Verdiev, Porter, and then he fought, who else did he fight this year? John Molina. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So Triple G's able to fight 3 or 4 because he's fighting guys that he's going to dominate for the most part. That's why he's able to fight 3 or 4 times a year.
Quantity.
Because it's not the biggest top 5 names or anything.
Quantity versus quality is what it is. And, I also wanted to say, when it comes to the fans that say, we're hating on Golovkin, et cetera, when I make a video and I interview tons of professional boxers that do this for a living, right? And they're all corroborating almost everything you hear me say, almost everything you hear BoxingEgo say. And if they're corroborating with a lot of that, I tell you right now, do I hate Golovkin? Of course I don't hate Golovkin, right? But at the same time, let's just say I did hate him. Let's say I hated his guts. What would that have to do with all the boxers that I interviewed who said the exact same thing that I said, right? So at the end of the day, it don't matter if you love these guys or hate them. We are talking about boxing. So I'm not a big fan of Sergey Kovalev because he is a straight-out racist, okay? This man then came out on radio shows, on Twitters, and said blatant racist things. I don't personally care too much for him, but if you ask me how good he is, I tell you he's a damn good fighter. I tell you he's the best at 175, and he will be more of a difficult fight for Ward than Golovkin will be. You see how I could separate my emotions from logic? And that's how, a lot of you... Go ahead.
I was going to say, to piggyback what you're saying, is even if we did hate these people, which I don't hate any pro fighter. These dudes entertain all of them. I'm entertained with their fights. But hypothetically, if I did hate these fighters, what does that have to do with my point not being valid? How is that being proven wrong?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you get. You get emotional fans who... Ishe Smith will write his response letter to Oscar De La Hoya, and people will say, who is Ishe Smith? He was on the Contender. He lost to Lara. What does that have to do with the statement in his response letter?
Yeah.
What does that have to do? How is he wrong with what he said? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's what they do. So even if I hate, people say, oh, you hate Triple G, Pacquiao, now I hate Cotto. I hate everybody, okay? I hate everybody. But prove what I'm saying as false. Tell me that there's an A-level name on Triple G's resume right now that I overlooked and omitted from it.
Mm-hmm.
Who is he?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But they don't do that. They just say, oh, you're gay or you hate this person. It's not about hate. But the only thing I do hate is the machine and the media who are prematurely comparing Triple G to Marvin Hagler because I have a respect for
Oh, my God, such an insult.
Don't compare him to Hagler.
Yeah.
Such an insult, man.
And
that's
then
the only thing I hate. I don't hate him personally. He's not the commentator on HBO or wherever saying it.
And Ego,
HBO has to do that. They have to sell these shows because they know they're running out of time. Al Heyman is taking over boxing. They're desperate. Listen to Jim Lampley talk when he commentated the Triple G fight with David Lemieux. They have to do that.
Oh.
Man, Jim Lampley, you can miss a punch and Jim Lampley will give you credit. Bang! He hit it with it right. He missed.
Real talk.
Roy Jones knows the real deal. He wants to say Triple G ain't fought nobody and he's a hype job, but he want to keep that paycheck. So I ain't mad at him. He want to say it. Trust me.
And Roy Jones possibly has to.
He wants to say it. Believe me. He just can't.
Roy Jones is the voice of reason on HBO. He's like
the voice of reason.
Beautiful body shot. Roy Jones was like, that was a low blow, Jim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
What were you saying, Doctor?
Ego, you were talking about, for the fans, saying this gay stuff. Now, you was just telling me about somebody who sent you a comment. Matter of fact, you sent it to me. You had some dudes on there trying to threaten your life just because you even reported some news on Oscar De La Hoya, and you weren't even giving your own opinion. You were reporting what Leonard Ellerby said about Oscar De La Hoya, and you had De La Hoya fans that were threatening your life. How do you call somebody gay when we know, and like I said, I don't care what Oscar does outside of boxing. You know, I respect him for what he does. But what we know about Oscar, how are you willing to threaten someone's life to defend Oscar when you know the pictures that have been out when it comes to Oscar De La Hoya, and then you got the nerve to turn around and call somebody gay? What kind of shit is that? You know what I mean?
Listen, so I got a bet, man. I got a PayPal that I use all the time. I got a PayPal Business MasterCard. I got $500 for anybody who produces a picture of Ego and fishnet. If you can find a picture of me where I got fishnet and I'm cross-dressed and wearing wigs and stuff, I got $500 for you. Just send me your email address. But yeah,
I got 10 million.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we can up the ante. I'll bet Mayweather.
You ain't gonna never see that.
Yeah, I mean it's just crazy. People watch your back and threatening me. I'm like Pac said, I'm not hard to find. I'm out here. But the thing is, it's too many emotions in the sport of boxing. It's like people don't even care if what you're saying is true. They just care that you said it. Why did you say that about Triple G? You're not saying that I'm wrong. You're just mad that I said that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. You're not going to be able to contain the realness like this show, like what I do. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. So you have to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to have an intelligent conversation, we can do that. But it's always something different. I make 7 reasons why Canelo beats Cotto. Oh, you're the man. But then if I ever get Cotto or Canelo criticism, then they say I hate Canelo.
Yeah.
And people leave me comments, oh, you don't know shit, you're biased against Canelo. But then when I make a video picking him, then I'm the man. So
it's
a lot of emotions in the sport.
And it's just the hypocrisy of it all. We got 4 minutes. I want to move on and see if we could get a minute response from you, Erik. I want to ask you about this news of Edeslani Lara. He wants to move up to 160. Now, I was talking to one of Golovkin's teammates, Kevin Kelly. His manager is Tom Loeffler. They share the same manager. And we talk extensively about Golovkin possibly fighting against Lara. At first he said, it's not a big fight, and he was trying to say that the Lemieux fight would be bigger. And I was like, bigger than, you telling me that Golovkin-Lemieux would do better numbers than Golovkin versus Lara when Lemieux only did like 100 to 150,000 pay-per-views? So anyway, let me go ahead and get to the question, get to the chase. So what do you think about Golovkin or Lara, moving up to 160 and fighting against Golovkin? Is it a competitive fight? Financially, does it make sense, Erik?
For Golovkin, yeah. I don't see why not. He, as many mentioned it before, some of his last opponents haven't exactly been, top sellers. So I think it would be an interesting fight. I think he beats Lara. I think Lara gets in some real good, interesting rounds, but Lara has a tendency to get tired in the late rounds, and I think that's where Golovkin takes over and just probably beats him on decision, if not gets a stoppage. But I think Lara's a worthy competitor. I would love to see that fight. It would be a great mark on Golovkin's needing resume. As you said, it's very wanting. It's not necessarily the greatest resume out there, but I definitely think Golovkin is that good. I would love to see him fight, but even if Lara would to move up to 160, the likelihood would be he would fight Peter Quillen I'm sorry, forget the other guy's name.
Danny Jacobs.
He would fight one of those two guys instead of Golovkin. So even then, I don't see that fight ever happening until they make some kind of of agreement between Al Heyman Top Rank, or I'm sorry, Al Heyman K2.
Or HBO. And by the way, I interviewed Lara's manager, Louis DeCubas, and he actually cleared the air. He said that they can make that fight. He said that Al Heyman would not be a roadblock. He said that they would even be willing to fight on HBO. Yeah, so we know that that's not.
And that's his manager.
Yeah, and
I would love to see it. I would love to see that fight. I think that would be an excellent matchup. And with all the lack of opponents he's seen can't get, why not fight somebody who wants to fight you? So I would love to see it. Great fight.
And you may be right. We got like 2 minutes left, but yeah, but like, yeah, you say you think Golovkin will stop Lara?
I think he stops him because Lara takes too many rounds off. He's frozen and he don't throw enough combination. He stops him.
And like I said, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if Golovkin wins the fight, but it would still be a step up. If Golovkin could go in there and knock out Lara, a guy that Canelo couldn't knock out, a guy that Austin Trout couldn't knock out. If Golovkin could go in there, and Gulo. If Golovkin could go in there and just blow him out of the water, that would be impressive, way more impressive than the David Lemieux fight, and it would be much better pay-per-view numbers as well.
But why can't he fight a legitimate middleweight? Just like Floyd had to move up and fight everybody. Why is every fight for him, somebody has to move up to him, or they got to meet at a catchweight?
I agree.
He's such a threat.
Well, let's be fair. Floyd did fight a lot of junior welterweights when he had been at welterweight. He fought Victor Ortiz, Ricky Hatton. A lot of these guys moved up in weight.
Let's remember, Floyd was a natural 130 pounder. Come on now, this man is 160. Why does everybody have to meet you at a catchweight or come up to you?
I agree. No, don't get me wrong. Just because Golovkin is called Mexican style doesn't mean he's actually Mexican. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan, but I agree with you. But a lot of these fighters, they're just doing the same tactics over and over again. The promoters are just cashing in, milking their fighters for all they're worth, and it's an age-old thing that's been going on.
I think one of the big differences is, like, you look at Victor Ortiz, who's like 10 years younger than Floyd Mayweather, plus he rehydrates at 165, 168 pounds.
Yeah.
Versus Lara, he don't rehydrate crazy middleweight numbers. I mean, even Brandon Rios, when he fought Bradley, rehydrated.
And we're down.
Crazy number
Bradley
fight. So that's a difference.
And we're down.
Like, Lara's 10 years younger than Golovkin, and he's not going to rehydrate something way crazier than what Floyd rehydrates, like 150, 151, 154.
That's the biggest he gets.
Like that.
Yeah.
Very low.
Yeah, Floyd, and like I said, the difference is Floyd Mayweather, he's fought tons of fighters that were 15, 20 pounds bigger than him, naturally stronger, a lot younger. Golovkin hasn't done it yet. He hasn't fought one yet, and he hasn't moved up in any weight classes yet. So we are out of time, guys. Had a great show. We'll be talking a lot about Canelo Cotto after this weekend. See you guys next week.